Hi everybody, this is Chelsea Shade and I'm the Associate Director of Supports for Formative Assessment here at Smarter Balanced. And today we are going through the TIMS resource authoring tool. Before we get started, I want to go over some background information. So the Item Management System, or TIMS, is the new home for Tools for Teachers authoring. Prior to the fall of 2020, all resources were manually entered into Tools for Teachers by staff and contractors. Beginning in the spring of 2021, all Tools for Teachers resources are to be drafted, reviewed, and synced with Tools for Teachers using the TIMS resource authoring tool. The purpose of this guide is to provide technical support to resource authors to log in and navigate TIMS for the purpose of authoring Tools for Teachers instructional resources. Before we dive in, we're going to go over some notes and reminders. The first is that all authoring is to occur directly in TIMS. The application does not support any copying, pasting, or cutting from other documents or applications. Additionally, TIMS currently does not have a grammar and spell check built into the system. However, you can install Grammarly or some other browser application to do this for you as you author within TIMS. So let's get started. First, we are going to log in, and you may be logging into Okta or your portal, your single sign-on. And then depending on what you have available to you, you will have different items on your dashboard. I do want to point out that we are in the UAT environment, and so this is different than the production environment in which you will see. UAT is really used for demonstrations such as this, or it allows us to test new features as we release them. When you log in, you want to make sure you are on the Tools for Teachers. And depending on your permissions, you might have just Tools for Teachers or you might have some item writing permissions. So Tools for Teachers is the three triangles over here on the left-hand side. The default search is to show resources that you are currently editing. If you want to browse, or let's say you're a table lead and you want to look at all of the resources that your table is currently working on, you can change the default filter or search filters. So you want to change this, are you editing, from yes to no, and then you want to add a filter. I am going to be putting in an ELA. So I want to look at ELA, and let's look at grades 4, 5, and 6. So these are currently the resources that are in our UAT environment that fall under ELA, grades 4, 5, or 6. Now when you want to create a new resource, you come to the top right, select Add New Resource, and then Instructional. The first thing you want to do is put in your metadata. So this resource, I'm actually just using an existing resource and just using it in the testing environment. So it's called Rhetorical Reading Review, a close look at author, text, and audience. Your resource card image, you want to attach a JPEG, PNG, or JPG file. Remember that it needs to be square or a 1-to-1 ratio, and you need to have proper copyright permissions. And then from here, we're going to put in the rest of the metadata. So this is ELA, this is grade 7. It is claim 1 reading. So I'm going to hit add claim, and then you'll see this gray box appear. From there, you're going to add the target, and this is target 12. You're going to hit add target, and then you're going to select the standards. This is RI 1 and 6. It's important to note that if you have more than one target, you add both targets, but if the same standard is in both targets, do not add the same standard more than once because TIMS and tools will only show it one time. And then I'm going to put the author's name. Just for this example, I'm just going to put my name, even though I did not create this resource. It is just a testing environment. And then I'm going to select Save as Draft. You can see that over here it says organization. Because I am with Smarter Balanced, I'm going to add Smarter Balanced. Most S&Es will not have an organization associated with them, so you can leave that blank. Again, go over to Save as Draft. It says, are you sure you want to commit your changes to the resource bank? Say yes. And then take note of this number in the top left-hand corner, so 360. So now I can go to the search, and if I refine this, and we know we are looking for grade 7, you can now see that we can find the resource we just created. Okay, let's go through each of the tabs on the left. Because we are done with our metadata on the right, I'm going to kind of get rid of that. So to do that, you hit this arrow and it goes away. And you'll notice that once you hit Save as Draft, you now have to hit the Edit button in order to change anything. So I'm going to go to Get Started, I'm going to Edit, and you're going to start typing in your overview, learning goals, and success criteria. Remember, you do not want to copy and paste into TIMS. I am just doing this so you don't have to sit through and watch me type paragraphs. One thing I will point out, when you go into TIMS, the learning goal and success criteria section should have default bullets. I can see right here that the bullet is selected, but it's not showing up. So that's actually a bug. We will be getting that fixed. But you should see default bullets that you can just add your text to. And all of these spaces are bad, which is why we don't copy and paste from another document. Okay, so from here I want to show you the formatting options that are available to you. You can bold, you can italicize, you can underline, you can use subscripts or superscripts. I do want to remind you that we want to reserve underlining for links, hyperlinks. You can also add in tables. We don't really encourage the use of tables. However, we do know that there are exceptions and sometimes you really want to use it within these sections. If you do have a complex table or something that really could be part of an attachment that you hand out to students, please put that in your attachments and not in these sections. And then the next tool is the Wirus editor for math. So if you have any math equations, you're going to use this. You hit the button and then it pops up over here on the right. I am going to put in this. Okay, so 64 to the power of 1/3. And then you also see that it has a jump to the top. This is in each section or tab, so it will bring you back to the top. When you finish, you want to select Finish Editing. It says, are you sure you want to commit your changes to the resource bank? Enter the reason for your changes to this resource. Because we're just editing, we didn't make any big changes. I'm going to leave it blank, but let's say I went in and gave some feedback to someone. I might want to leave what I changed and why here. The next section is a step-by-step. So you're going to hit edit. The first step in this resource is clarify intended learning. Notice I did not put number 1 because up here it says step 1, so TIMS and Tools will number it for you. And then you put in the first step. Okay. It is important to note a few things. 1, don't copy and paste from a different document. 2, we need to be very cognizant of our spacing. So for example, if I leave an extra space right here, TIMS will pick that up and it will format weird in Tools for Teachers. So we need to delete that space out. If you have more than 1 sentences in a paragraph or a bullet, you please only use 1 space after each period instead of 2, so just 1 space. And then let's say you had an additional paragraph you wanted to add, so like a side note. You do not need to add this additional space. TIMS will make this format into Tools so that it looks like there is a space between sections, so that extra space is not needed here. Additionally, if you have an extra space hanging down here at the bottom, it will format weird in Tools for Teachers. So again, make sure we get rid of that extra space down there. Now, each resource is allowed to have 3 to 10 steps, so the default is 3 steps, and if you want to add more, you can do this by adding step. You can rearrange steps by using the arrows. So if I want to move this up, it is now step 3 instead of step 4. If you want to delete a step, you do the little minus button to the right, and then you hit finish editing. Files. The first thing I want to mention about files is that they all do need to be accessible, and you need to create them in Word or PowerPoint, etc. first before uploading them. And they need to pass the accessibility check. Once they do that, then you can add them as attachments to the Files tab. To do that, select Add Attachment, and then you're going to put the name of the resource. For our example, this is called a jigsaw task, number 1, and it is going to be a handout. All of the categories that you're able to select are listed here in the drop-down link, or menu I should say, and then you can drag and drop or browse. I'm just going to drag and drop. And I want to point out one thing. So if you look at the file name, there is a dash. Special characters are not allowed. So what I'm going to do is delete this file by selecting the little minus button. Down here it says successfully deleted. You're going to close that out, otherwise the little notes won't disappear. And I'm going to rename the file attachment so that it does not have any special characters. Once I do that, I can upload it and we are good to go. The next tab is links. Remember, links need to be supplemental material only. They cannot be primary material because they can break, and we are not responsible for the material of extra sites or additional sites. Here you're going to put the name of the site. You're going to put the category. So this one is a sample. And then you're going to put in the URL. We have 3 types: YouTube, Vimeo, or external. If it's not YouTube or Vimeo, you're going to hit external. This is a YouTube link, so I am going to hit YouTube. Now, if I select Vimeo, you'll notice it says this link is not a valid Vimeo URL. So just a little reminder to select the correct link. And then hit finish editing. All right, from there, we're going to go to strategies. For strategies, both types are in the same tab. So we have accessibility strategies and formative assessment strategies. To select one, you're going to use the arrow to show you the drop-down menu. Accessibility strategies is divided into the 3 tiers. So you have universal, designated supports, and accommodations. Click on one and select add. And it is a little funny. It doesn't delete once you add it. So just know that it won't go away, but it is up here. And then you can add your formative strategies. And again, if you want to delete one, you use the minus button. Please remember that if you use a strategy, it needs to be spelled correctly in the step-by-step, just as you see here. And you need to say how and when the students are going to be using these tools in the step-by-step. They should not appear in the things to consider or the formative assessment strategies section only. They can be used there to summarize, but you really need to talk about them in the step-by-step. And again, please use the drop-down menu to check the spelling of each strategy. And you notice it says, please save your changes to strategies before editing this section. So I forgot to select finish editing, so you'll get a little reminder. And now I can go to the things to consider. All right, so I'm going to select edit. And then we are going to type in our things to consider. The things to consider section is really notes from you as the resource author or notes from a teacher to a teacher, tips. They can be about differentiation, scaffolding, remote instruction tips. But I do want to point out that because we added an external link to a site that is not managed by us and we cannot ensure the accessibility, at the very least, I am going to add this link disclaimer. It says the author of this resource has provided links to external websites that are not controlled, maintained, or regulated by Smarter Balanced. And that will go at the very bottom of our things to consider section. Once it is saved, the autosave up here, I'm going to select finish editing. And then you can edit your formative assessment section. It does have each attribute of the formative assessment process. Remember, this is a summary of what you have mentioned in the step-by-step of how you will be using the formative assessment strategy or process in your resource. I'm going to skip review for now and jump to copyright. This is where you will either say that you assure all work in your resource is fully your own, which is the first check mark. If it's not, you have 2 other options. You have, I have copyright permissions for this resource, or I have attributed content that's not my own for my resource. If you have copyright permission, you're going to select add copyright. You're going to put in the name of the resource that you have copyright permissions for, any notes that you might consider are important, and then you're going to upload the copyright permissions. If you receive your copyright permission via email, then you want to save that email as a PDF and attach it here. If you have attributed content, instead of, you might not have permission for attributed content, but it might be good for you to put the attribution statement in the notes just so that you can use it when you provide attribution in either the overview and or the step-by-step. History just shows you what you have done and when. It is time-stamped, and it will show when other users come in and do something to your resource. And then admin, this is really smarter balanced. You won't have any rights to change this section. And again, I got that note to please save your copy editing. So I will do that before going on. Okay, so the last tab is the review tab. Remember that you are required to have 3 full reviews before you can submit to copy edit. And because you are not going to be reviewing your own, I will show you how another user can get in and either provide reviews or leave feedback or edit your resource. Okay, so I am currently in as TIMS user 6. I'm going to go in as myself, and I'm going to look for resource 360. And that was ELA, grade 7. Sorry, I forgot the grade. Okay, and then search. And 360 appears. So if I am the table lead, I can come in and I can do a formal review. Same as if any table mates are doing a formal review, they will find your resource on the dashboard, come in and select edit. So you're going to select add review. This is going to be a full review, so a formal review. And then that person will type in their notes. Now, there is opportunities for someone to leave just feedback. So if you just say, hey, Chelsea, can you go in and check out my things to consider section? Then I can come in and leave feedback and just say, the section looks good. You can also do it verbally. It's really up to you and your colleagues to decide what kind of feedback you like and how. And if you notice down here, this is an example of Grammarly and how it works. So it was red and it shows that I spelled, or I needed the, so I'm just going to add that. And then select Finish Editing. Now, more than one person can go in and edit a resource at a time. However, you cannot edit different tabs at the same time. So if I am editing Get Started, then Amy cannot edit Get Started, but she can work on any of the other tabs. Once you have your 3 full reviews and you get approval from your table lead, you can change the workflow status from draft and move it to copy edit. You might want to say table lead gave the okay, just some written documentation. And then our copy editors will know that it is ready for them to review once it is in copy edit. When you are all done, you're going to log out. And that is it. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to any Smarter Balance staff or contractors. Thank you and have a great day.